Good morning, happy Saturday, or greetings whenever you're joining us. My name is Caitlin, and this is our level 2 comeback yoga Saturday morning class. This month, we're focusing on our breath, using our breath throughout the practice, as well as moving with our breath in standing positions. So, moving with our breath in standing positions might mean that we're moving and balancing a little faster than we have in the past. So always know that a static position, if you don't want to move with your breath, you just want to stay in one pose, that's available to you. Additionally, this is your practice. So pay special attention to your movements as you transition from one shape to the other. When we move quicker, it can be easier to catch a limb or maybe forget about an injury or a sticky spot in our body. So I will lead through this practice, but remember it is entirely yours and move with your body in a way that feels good for you. This practice will be about 45 minutes. All of those minutes are yours. So whether we're moving or staying still, if I'm in a shape that you don't want to be in or you know isn't good for you, find something that feels good for you, knowing that we will move on. And all of these minutes are yours. I would recommend for this practice having a block or two or a water bottle that's closed, works as well. And I have my water here in a glass. Just remember to take breaks whenever you need and stay hydrated. So we're going to start in a comfortable seat. And maybe you're seated with your legs in front of you, like me. Maybe you want to be resting on your knees and shins or on a block to create some space for your hips. Whatever feels good. We'll start this practice with trying out our ocean breath. In other yoga classes, this might be called Ujjayi breath, but it's also called an ocean breath or victorious breath. And how you do it is sealing your lips and breathing in and out through your nose, and then adding some constriction into the back of your throat. So I do that by bringing my tongue to the roof of my mouth. And when you breathe through your nose with this constriction, you'll hear a sound kind of like wind or ocean waves crashing on the beach. It might kind of remind you of the way Darth Vader sounds too. So give it a try. And I find this breath to be really helpful, especially when I first started practicing yoga, because there's a lot of things going on in yoga at once. But if I could just focus on one thing, I knew that this time would be meaningful and worth my time. So I would choose to focus on my breath throughout practice. And this audible breath, this ocean breath, would help me do that because I could check in throughout the practice and know that I'm still breathing and focus on my breath, moving with my breath, and noticing how it changes the shapes. And remember that this breath will also be warming. It'll bring a little warmth to your upper body and your face. So if you don't like that or test it out and it doesn't feel comfortable, go back to your normal breath, or you can exhale with open mouth. Nice. So now that you've given it a try, choose whichever breath you'd like to move forward with, your decision. And we'll start our practice with some ocean breaths. So maybe you bring your hands to heart center, palms together in front of your chest. And on your next inhale, allow that breath to go really deep in the belly and expand throughout the ribs. On your exhale, press the palms away from your chest and maybe you tuck your chin. On your next inhale, open the hands, face comes to look forward, chest gets really wide. On your exhale, come back to tucking your chin, hands together, extended in front of you. And on your inhale, that deep breath into your torso. Hands come to heart center. So we'll move here with your breath. Exhale. Inhale, getting really big. Exhale, coming back. Hands together. And then inhale, hands to heart center. Exhale. Moving here, breathing here at your pace. It's okay if you're a little ahead or behind. Just starting to notice your breath and moving with it in this space. We'll do 2 more like that. Maybe you find some flexion in the back as you round the spine to tuck the chin and then open big. Those wings come wide. Nice. Last one here. And then on your last inhale, hands come to heart center. Beautiful. We'll exhale and drop those hands. And then inhale, lift the hands high, fingertips come towards the ceiling. And then on your exhale, we'll drop that right hand down. On your next inhale, press through the tailbone, reach to the crown of the head, and the left fingertips go really high. So lengthening through that left side body. On your exhale, find a gentle bend and breathe here into that long left side body. One more breath here, really nice. Beautiful. On your next inhale, bring both hands high. And exhale, drop the left hand down. On your inhale, reach through the crown of the head. Right fingertips go really long, feeling that long side body waking up on the right side. And on your exhale, find a gentle bend. Breathing here. And drawing the shoulder blade away from the ear. And just allowing this to be gentle. Great. From there, when you're ready, on your next inhale, we'll bring both hands up. And then exhale, hands come down as you twist over to the left, keeping that long, flat spine. Inhale, come back up. And exhale over to the other side. Inhale. And exhale. Really nice. So just moving here with your breath. I love this movement because we're just using the muscles in our trunk to twist and keeping that flat back. We're not jerking the muscles around or moving anything too quickly or too strongly. Nice. One more on both sides. Beautiful. And then from here, we'll bring our hands and our chest back to neutral. And we'll find our hands maybe on our knees or the thighs. And then we'll start to make circles with the trunk. So you can come forward and then come to one side, round behind. Maybe your spine curls and reaches for the back of the mat. And then come through to the other side. And then come back forward, maybe finding an arch in the back so that you're reaching through the tailbone and shoulders draw back and behind. So just find your circles here, as deep or as little as feels good. And this morning, it's okay if your sits bones lift as you come to one side and then the other. And maybe you inhale as you come forward and exhale as you round behind. And with this movement, again, maybe you think about your cat-cows or arching and then tucking that spine to just bring some gentle movement. Nice. And then we'll switch directions. Maybe you exhale as you come behind, inhale as you come forward. And you can allow this to be as dramatic or chill in the shoulders as feels good for you this morning. So I've seen people really bring their elbows into it and notice how this moves in your shoulders. Or if you want to keep your elbows in and allow this movement to mostly be in your hips and your spine, that's fine too. Maybe you notice how your hips are feeling this morning with this just gentle wake up movement. Beautiful. And then from here, we will find smaller and smaller circles coming back to that flat spine, pressing into the tailbone, reaching through the crown of the head, arriving here in the space. And from here, we'll move into our child's pose. So we'll come forward onto all fours first. And we'll bring the knees a bit wider than the hips. Maybe your big toes draw towards one another or even touch. The hips can drop back down towards the heels. And maybe you walk your hands forward as your chest and forehead come down towards the mat. Your forehead can rest on the mat, or you can have your forehead rest on your palms stacked to bring the mat to you. And this is a great space to, again, come back to your breath. So maybe you like the sound of that ocean breath. Have a little private space just for you and that breath. And if you don't want to focus on the sound of your breathing here, we'll be here for about 10 more breaths. One thing that I heard recently that stuck with me is that our breath is a sign of our resilience. So maybe as you feel your breath expanding in your ribs, maybe moving your shoulders, or bringing your chest closer and further away from the mat, you notice your breath as a sign of your resilience. Maybe you even say, I am resilient. And we'll be here for 4 more breaths. Notice how staying in this pose, breathing here, might open up some space for you to deepen the shape, find greater ease. And you are always welcome to stay here if you would like to move on. We'll come through tabletop to downward facing dog. So you can press through the palms, lifting the chest up and walking the hands back towards center. We can bring the knees a little bit closer in. All of our toes point towards the back of the mat, and then we flip those toes and then press into them, lifting the hips high. Chest comes towards the thighs, downward facing dog. So here, take whatever movements feel good as you first arrive in your down dog, and then bring that intention to all of the pads of your fingers, and then creating this long line from those finger pads and your palm, the heel of your hand, to your tailbone, pointing that tailbone really high, and then relaxing the muscles in the calf and the hamstrings to just allow the heels to fall wherever they may today. You can keep a gentle bend in the knees. So we kind of build down dog as we come into it. And as you breathe here for 3 more breaths, just notice what this pose feels like in your body. Beautiful. And then from here, we can bring the knees back down and bring the weight into your left knee. And then we'll lift the right foot to come forward in between our hands. This can take as long or move as quickly as feels good for you. Before we lift our chest up, though, check in with your right foot and your left knee that you're on to ski tracks or railroads. Railroad tracks, yeah. All right, from here, we'll use our strength to hinge from the hips, lift up the chest. And you can leave your hands down beside your hips, or you can lift them high. Notice as you come vertical here that this is a balancing pose. It can be a little deceptive because your knee is down, but I always notice, hey, I'm working to balance here. So take that time to steady yourself, take any adjustments that might be necessary. And then maybe when you found your shape, you'll energetically draw your thighs towards one another to square the hips towards the front of the mat. Beautiful. From here, check in that you have your blocks or your water bottle, and we'll sweep the hands, let them come down to find those blocks or your water bottle. Bring them beside you, and keeping your hips lifted as much as possible so they're not pressing back too much. We're going to extend the right leg long. So maybe you reach that right leg long. And this is our half split. So what we want to find is a stretch in the hamstrings in the back of the leg. And you can put as much weight as you need on those blocks. And you can hinge forward from the hips to deepen that stretch, or you can keep the hips and chest lifted. This is not my favorite pose, but I hear you're supposed to do things that are hard, so that's what we're doing together. Thank you for joining me. From here, maybe you peel the right foot back down towards the mat, find a bend in that right leg, and then come back to your low lunge. So we'll breathe here. You can choose to move with me or stay in half split or low lunge. We'll inhale, reach those fingertips high, and then exhale, sweep the hands back for the blocks as you straighten that right leg. Maybe you find a hinge. Inhale, low lunge, and exhale, half split. Nice, moving here with your breath, slowly and with intention. Maybe you notice how breathing here, either statically or moving, allows you to deepen the shape. For one more breath. Really nice. Awesome job. Okay, from here, we'll bring the weight back into that left knee, and we'll bring that right knee beside it, and then we'll bring the weight into the right knee and step that left leg forward, pressing into the left sole of the foot, finding the blocks here, and then coming into your low lunge. Again, checking in that that foundation is really strong and you have your foot and knee on two different lines. Check in with the hips that they're square to the front of the mat. Awesome. And then on an exhale, find your half split by lengthening through that left leg. And then maybe you hinge forward, maybe you don't. Beautiful. And then from here, whatever you did on the other side, either moving in these two shapes or staying in one, we will breathe together. So inhale, and then exhale. Notice as you breathe how this shape changes. For two more breaths. Again, priority here is moving with intention if you choose to move. Beautiful. And then we'll come back to that low lunge. And then we'll sweep the hands back down and bring those blocks towards the front of the mat for later. And then we'll meet in a standing position at the front of the mat. So I'm going to come through tabletop, and then I'm going to tuck my toes, lift my hips high, and just walk my feet towards the top of the mat into a little forward fold. Roll up gently, vertebrae by vertebrae. Here we are, Tadasana, just a gentle standing pose at the top of the mat. Now bring that weight and intention into the left foot, really rooting down and pressing the mat away with the left foot so much so that maybe that right foot feels light. Maybe you peel off the right foot from the mat and then step it back 2 or 3 feet for our crescent lunge. So you have a bend here in the left knee now. Maybe you reach your hands high, lengthening through both side bodies, just like we did when we warmed up. Breathing here in this really strong crescent shape. Maybe you energetically draw the thighs towards one another to once more bring the hips parallel to the front of the mat. And then from here, we'll move into Warrior Two. So you can drop the hands down and check in with that back foot. We'll dial that right heel down, so right toes point towards the right side. The chest comes to point towards the right side, and so do the hip points. And then check in with that left knee that it's not dialing in towards center, but instead pressing out to the left still. Cool, so there's a bit of balancing here. And then we'll find our T with our arms and breathe here in our Warrior Two shape. Maybe you look over your left fingertips. Beautiful. From here, we'll find reverse triangle. So we'll drop that right hand down, straighten the left leg, and allow those hips to press back towards the back of the mat. You can flip the left hand and then reach it long. So you have this long line from your left toes all the way up to your left fingertips, and you're breathing into this left side body here. Your hips and shoulders are still stacked on top of one another, but they're pressing out towards the back of the mat. Beautiful. On an exhale, come back to your Warrior Two, sink low. And then maybe you stay in Warrior Two, or maybe you inhale to reach high, reverse triangle. If you're moving, your exhale is Warrior Two. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, Warrior Two. Maybe you allow your hips to lead the shape, pressing back for reverse triangle and coming back towards center, finding your hips underneath your shoulder for Warrior Two. One more breath just like this. Really nice. And then from here, we'll drop the hands, keep that bend in the left knee, and either bring your palm or your elbow to that left thigh. When we're choosing here, we want to be sure to keep that long side body. So if you feel longer in the side body by bringing your hand to the thigh, then that's great. And then we'll inhale and reach that right hand high for extended side angle. So breathing here for 3 breaths and noticing as we breathe how we might settle deeper into the shape. Really strong. And then from here, we can drop that right hand and check in with your blocks. So we want to place one block or water bottle pretty far in front. I'm going to move that so you can see. So maybe about 6 or 8 inches in front of our left foot. Now we're going to keep the shoulders in line with the hips so that our right hip is still behind our left hip. And we're going to lengthen through the side body as we reach, just kind of extending over that left leg to reach the left palm down for the block. And maybe you bring your right hand, just your right leg, heel toe it forward so that it's closer to your left leg. From here, you have a lot of weight in your left leg. Maybe you press through that left leg, straightening the leg, and your right foot might peel off the mat. Maybe this is your half moon. Or maybe you keep that right foot kickstanding. Maybe you can press the mat away with that right foot and then press the mat away with the left foot and lift the right foot behind you. Maybe you'd like to find a stack in your shoulders here, lifting that right fingertips, those right fingertips for the ceiling, for your half moon. So wherever you are, just play here, trying to keep the left shoulder and left hip forward. Cool. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the feet together towards one another, right beside each other, and we'll lift up to standing. Keep that intention in the left sole of the foot. I'll face forward so you can see me. So pressing through that left foot, rooting down, so much so that that right foot might even be light. We're going to let the right knee extend out to the side. Find your tree shape. So bring the right sole of the foot either to the ankle or the left calf. Press that left leg back into the right leg. So you have this really strong connection to root your tree shape wherever you are. And then maybe you can bring your hands to heart center, coming in and out of the shape, and allowing your breath to center you as you try to balance here. Maybe when you found a good moment of balance, you extend your branches, making your tree. Really nice. Great job. All right, shake that out. Come out of the shape as slowly as you came into it, and we're back standing at the front of our mat. So bring that same weight and intention into the right foot now. We're rooting down, pressing the mat away with that right foot, so much so that maybe the left foot feels light. And we'll step that left foot back 2 or 3 feet for our crescent lunge. So all of our toes are pointing towards the front of the mat still. Maybe you reach your hands high, extending through that side body. Shoulders draw away from the ears. Really nice. So we still have a good bend in the right leg. Breathing here, checking in with our hips that they're square with the mat if possible. Nice, and then we'll find our warrior two. You can drop the hands and dial the left heel down. Left toes point towards the left side of the mat, and the chest points over towards that side as well. Now we'll tee out the arms and draw the shoulder blades towards the spine, and then maybe you look over your right fingers. Check in with that right knee, that it's bent, and pressing out towards the right side of the mat. Beautiful. You want your hips to be below the shoulders here. Nice. And then from here, we'll find our reverse triangle. So you can drop that left hand down, flip that right palm, and press into the right foot as you straighten that right leg and send those hips back towards the back of the mat. So stretching here, feeling a nice stretch in that right side body. Whew. Cool. And from here, we'll come back to warrior two, and you can choose your shape or choose to move with your breath. So our inhale is reverse triangle. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale. And exhale at your pace. Noticing as you move and breathe, or as you breathe in one shape, how that breath might allow you to find a deeper expression of your shape. Nice. One more exhale, warrior two. Really strong. From here, we'll find our extended side angle. So you want to bring your right palm or right elbow to that right thigh, keeping that length in the side body. So make your choice here, and then extend that left arm high and then maybe over to towards the front of the mat. So again here, we're keeping that right shoulder in front of the left, right hip in front of the left. Finding a really nice side body stretch. Beautiful. And when you're ready, we'll drop that right hand down, or left hand down, sorry. Check in with your block for our half moon on this side. So bring that block in front of your right foot, and then maybe you step or heel toe that left foot a little closer towards the right heel. And then keeping your shoulders and hips in line, draw towards that block, keeping that length in the side body, like you're gonna sneak over your bent knee here in front of you. Maybe you find the block with your hand. From here, maybe you play with pressing the mat away with that right leg, so much so that your left foot peels off or up towards the mat, towards the ceiling. And maybe from here, when you find your balance, you can press through that left heel and lift it high. Or maybe you would like to stack your shoulders here, opening the chest out to the right side of the left side of the mat. Whew. Just playing here, remembering you're resilient, and you can come in and out of the shape however you like. Finding your half moon for 2 more breaths. Really nice. And when you're ready, we'll bring the feet together at the front of the mat, and we'll find our tree pose on this side. So pressing the mat away still with that right foot rooting down, that the left leg feels light, opening that left knee out towards the side, and then bringing the left heel in towards that right foot. And you can kickstand your toes down, or you can bring the whole sole of the foot to the calf. Your decision. Pressing that calf back into the sole of the foot so you have this really nice engagement to support you and build your shape. Breathing here. Noticing how our breath makes us move. And then we'll find our branches wide as we play in the shape. Really nice. Very strong. I become very aware of my breath in tree pose. And when you're ready to move on, you feel even on this side of your tree. We'll slowly come out of that shape as we came into it. Shake it out, and we'll come to sit on the mat. We'll find a nice seated forward fold. So extend your legs out in front of you. You can allow a gentle bend in the knees, and we're just gonna bring our chest forward towards the toes, even rounding towards the thighs. And allow the head to be heavy here. Reach for your toes or your ankles or your shins. Allow the shoulders to draw away from the spine and away from the ears, and just breathe here. Taking deep breaths for 4 breaths. Maybe you come back to that ocean breath, or notice how your breath feels in the shape. And when you're ready to move on, we will bring the shoulders back over the hips, and then draw those soles of the feet towards one another, and allow the knees to be heavy and wide. And don't worry so much about where your toes are, if they're or your heels even. If they're really close to your belly button, that's great. If you want them further away to make more space, that's great too. just allow those knees to be heavy and find an opening in the hips here. We've asked a lot of our hips in this practice. If you would like, you can fold forward from here if it feels good. Maybe giving your feet or your ankles just a gentle rub down, a little bit of thanks for all they did for us in those balancing poses. Those feet are working hard. When you're ready, we will keep the shape in our legs as we walk the hands behind the back and then allow them to lead us to reclined butterfly, bringing the back all the way down. Nice. And from here, maybe you tee out or goalpost your arms, and then we will lift the knees and plant the soles of the feet, and then drop the knees together to one side and then the other, keeping the shoulder blades resting on the mat. Just find those windshield wipers. As slow and gentle as you can. And allowing your breath to continue to be deep here as we come to lie down and approach those last few shapes. So from here, maybe your knees find stillness and then lift up towards your chest, and maybe you hold on to your knees with your hands. You can draw them in towards your clavicles, and you can even bring your forehead up to meet them, drawing everything in really, really tight like a coil, hugging your body in, and maybe rocking gently side to side, just massaging the spine really slowly. And then we'll bring the legs down and find our last pose. So I always let you choose what pose you would like to be in for this last one. Today, I am going to plant the soles of my feet wider than the mat to keep my knees bent, and then knock my knees in towards one another and bring my hands to my belly. If that feels good for you, go ahead and go there. If you'd like to be in a different shape, we'll meet there. And we'll take some time to rest and notice our breath. Allowing those deeper exhales to let go of muscle tension, a little bit of excitement we had when we were standing and moving in our practice. Letting go of everything that we just did and arriving together in this space of rest. Maybe you have your hands on your belly or your chest or even your shoulders to notice your breath moving in your body. We'll take a few moments here to rest in quiet, and then I will be here to guide us out and on. Maybe you start to deepen your breath. Maybe you'd like to bring some movement into your fingers, your toes, your ankles. Maybe you rock your head from side to side. And then when you're ready to move on, we will meet in a comfortable seat, taking time getting there, moving with intention. And I always like to close out my practice by rubbing my palms together to create a little bit of heat because I'm usually cold. And then you can bring your hands to heart center or you can stack them one over the other. You're important already. You always were. It means so much to me that you come to your mats and practice with me. It means so much to me that you allow me to guide you through this practice. Thank you for this time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.